Welcome, friends,
to the How-To Heretic.
I'm Uncle Mark.
And I'm Uncle Dan.
And I'm Uncle Doug.
And this is your user's guide to life on the outside.
Indeed, leaving religion is the first step into a larger, better world.
But it can also be a scary world. Things work differently now.
Never fear. That's why we're here.
We're your audio uncles. And with help from good friends and experts in all sorts of fields,
we're going to share the stories and seek the knowledge to build a great life.
After all, you only get the one that we know of, so you better make the most of it.
Guys.
Hello.
Hey.
How are ya?
Aw, I've just been peachy.
I've been better.
What a fucking week we've had.
I've had better ends of the world.
Yeah, same. What a week. We had a
We are
crazy one
literally
here.
shook. Like, literally shook.
Yeah. How was
The
it? Like it
shook us.
I'm down here on the lake bed, bottom of the sedimentary plain, and our house felt like it was a ship at sea.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I'm up here on the east side, where all the wealth is, and because I'm on the bedrock up here. It was just a tremendous vibration. Yeah, it was crazy.
It was weird. We got hit by a 5.7 magnitude earthquake, if you want to go by the Richter scale.
If you believe that.
If you believe in that thing.
If you believe in
Science
Richter.
tells you. Big
That's
Richter.
that's not enough to destroy Salt Lake City. Like almost nothing got really wrecked. You know,
No, not really any
buildings
damage.
came down or whatever.
But
Yeah.
it was legit scary.
But it was
Yeah.
it's enough to, like, there are certain things that we all just want to be granted. Like Earth being solid and staying under our feet. That's one of those ones that you just want to stay completely solid. You don't ever want that one to go away.
Yeah.
I never realized that the four horsemen were riding the same horse.
That it's funny. It's a sizable quake, believe me. And then there were several aftershocks during the day, and there was one today. Did you guys feel that one?
I didn't feel it, but I saw the news that it happened.
I was in bed just going, "Oh, motherfucker. Bring it, Earth. Let's do this."
I actually started enjoying the aftershocks. It kind of was a low ride for me.
Yeah.
I was like, you can't scare me now.
So anyway, that's our week. Even so, here we've gathered together separately to put together a show for you fine people out in Plagueville.
Yep. Once again, we are separate. We are in our own respective homes, not together, which kind of sucks. It would be so much more fun if we were all in the same room.
Would
but
be
we're
indeed
doing
good to see you guys.
our part.
Yes, indeed. So, Dan, you've got an interesting topic that has nothing to do with what's going on these days.
It feels so irrelevant. I don't know why I chose it, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll find a way to make it relevant. I don't know.
Well,
and
then
Doug, you're going to tell us the origin of Christianity.
That's right. I chose a subject for all you lovely listeners that has absolutely nothing to do with everything that's going on right now. So you're welcome for that. And we're going to talk about the Easter Bunny.
And a story you can tell in a few weeks.
Yeah.
You can tell it to your friends and family.
Timely.
Yeah, exactly. And then I have a little how-to where I demonstrate perfectly well how not to cave to fear. So we're going to enjoy.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be delightful.
Announcements. We still sell merch. That's even happening. You can cut it up and make it into surgical masks. That's probably the best use you can make of it right now.
A little bad news, unfortunately. The Lucian Greaves UVU visit is officially off. So condolences to our friend Vern and all the kids down there at UVU. They worked their asses off to try and get that to happen. It is delayed. It is currently postponed. We'll keep you posted as to when it's back on.
Yeah,
but,
we'll make it happen. It's going to happen again. We'll get it going. So once this fever passes, is that too soon? So, anywho, let's do a show, guys.
Fine. We're doing it.
Uncle Mark.
Uh-huh.
It seems bad right now, doesn't it?
Like now?
Like now.
Well,
right?
now was much worse than now just a minute ago. Yes, it seems pretty bad.
And the now is even worse.
Yeah, it just continues.
It turns out that it was also bad then.
Yes, it probably was whenever then was. But if you've listened to any of our segments, you know that then is always worse than now.
Well, that's true. I think that's not. I think if you've read your Steven Pinker, you know it was worse then than it is now.
Yeah.
Except that now it's worse than it was the other now.
Right.
So, there's an ebb and a flow, guys. But here we are, three uncles, united in purpose, but geographically divided once again by the scourge of our time, the dark shadow that looms over the whole world as at this moment in history. The plague of the 21st century, that's right, Post Malone. But we also got this whole...
He lives here now, I think?
Yeah, he lives in Utah. He's down in the southern part of of this valley of ours.
There's a tiny little ramen place. This old, you guys probably know the place. This little Japanese-owned old family business that's just off the beaten path, and they have a picture of it, an autographed picture of him in there. It's cracked me up.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, we also have this whole coronavirus pandemic on, and we're all doing our civic duty and socially distancing ourselves to slow its spread. Now, we didn't start our distancing program as quickly as we should have, and we should have had a nationwide testing program in place a month ago, and this shit show is far worse than it needs to be because our moron in chief, der fucking Führer himself, believes that the only thing that qualifies someone to be heard is how much they can make him believe they like him. But finally, the calamity got bad enough that even the Donald had to listen to scientists who actually know what they're talking about. Yeah. And that's pretty huge. Yeah. In all the ugliness and despair, let us remember that we've come far enough as a culture, and even a supremely dedicated narcissist like Herr Trump eventually does what the scientists tell him. Well, that's secularism at work, folks, and it's saving lives.
Uncle Dan, I have never seen someone search for a silver lining quite that hard.
Well, I did pull something in the search, but it's okay. I'm limping, but I'm fine.
You can trade a silver lining for 2.5 rolls of toilet paper.
That was the real end goal. You caught me out on that one. Well, I want to do a little compare and contrast today, and I want to start in the year 1233. Let's journey there together, shall we?
Good times.
Very good times. The Mongols captured Kaifeng, capital city of the Jin dynasty. Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II destroyed the city of San Severo for rebellion. And Pope Gregory IX had some major bees in his adorable papal bonnet. Pope Greg hated three things. The first two are the aforementioned Frederick II, who he thought was a very naughty boy, and obviously the Jews.
Yeah, classic.
Of course.
It's classic.
Right. The third was his most arch nemesis, at least if you go by body count. But to get to that body count, you have to start with what's called a papal bull. Now, a papal bull, as you may know, but you don't, is a document issued by a pope that decrees something. Many of them are remarkably stupid. I first became aware of them in 2015 when Pope Francis issued a bull declaring that year the Extraordinary Jubilee of Mercy.
Okay.
Yep. This was
I
issued...
don't remember it being terribly merciful or jubilant, but sure.
Yeah.
How dare you?
2015 is when the Donald came down the escalator, so that's all I remember.
Right, yeah, not tremendously merciful. This was issued in the bull titled, because they all have Latin titles, Misericordiae Vultus, which Wikipedia says, and I quote, emphasizes the importance of mercy and the need to gaze on it.
Oh, okay.
Remember that? All that mercy gazing the Catholics did that year?
Just give it a good gander. Give it a good hard look.
What a powerful time that was.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm just, the speed at which the Catholic Church has finally decided to declare a year of mercy in 2015 years, a little too late.
Yeah, right? Okay. Well, papal bulls have always been weird things. Just when I think I have a handle on what they're for, my mind gets blown. Like the one issued in the year 1323 by Pope John XII, titled Cum Inter Nonnulus, which basically said that the belief that Christ and his apostles were poor was a heresy. And then the next year, he issued Quia Quorundam, which basically yelled at everybody for thinking his last bull was shitty. So there you go. That's some bullshit right there.
Yeah, the papacy. It's weird.
Boom. Okay. Anyway, back in the middle 13th century, Big Daddy Greg the Ninth, I like to call him Nine Ball, was a bull issuing motherfucker. While most popes issue 0 to 3 bulls in their time as head bitch in charge, he came out with at least 18.
Wow.
In 1228, he issued Mira Cyranos, which canonized St. Francis of Assisi. And then, 2 years later, he issued Quo Elongati, which, quote, resolves issues concerning the testament of the new saint. So, yeah, okay. Apparently, not everybody was on board, as is so often the case. By far, my favorite papal bull, however, was the 1233 smash hit Vox in Rama. I won't bother translating it because I've already gone down too many rabbit holes, and I'm finally getting to the point here. Vox in Rama was a call to action for the Catholics of the world, but more especially the Catholics of Germany. You see, the 1980s were apparently not the first era to have a satanic panic. The 1230s were the height of a believed wave of crazed Luciferian cultiness, and Nine Ball wasn't having it. Vox in Rama described in detail the demonic ceremony in which a poor innocent Catholic might be inducted into the devil's church. Now, we may have to check in with Lucian Greaves on this one, but I'll just read you directly the description of this ritual from Wikipedia, because I don't believe it's possible for me to improve on it.
Well, please read it in the original Latin, just because I want to savor that.
I don't have the time. Don't have the time. So we're just going to go with how it was translated there. And mind you, this is the Pope in his bull describing what presumably these Luciferian evildoers, what happens to them, what it looks like. Quote, "The potential initiate is first approached by a mysterious toad as large as a dog."
Oh, fuck off.
It's a good launching point, right? It's a good start. Here we go. Let's continue. Shortly afterwards, an emaciated, pale man would appear, whom the initiate would kiss and thereby forget all memory of the Catholic Church. Members of the sect...
Can I kiss that pale man? Please, whoever you are, let me kiss you and forget about Catholicism.
If I kiss him, do I also get to forget about the giant toad? Anyway,
no, never forget.
Never forget. Members of the sect would then meet for a meal. When the meal had ended, the sect would arise and a statue of a black cat would come to life, walking backwards with its tail erect. First, the new initiate, and then the master of the sect would kiss the cat on the buttocks. That was in the papal bull. The Pope himself wrote that shit.
That is like if a 6-year-old tried to write a scary story.
Totally. But you know what? Having slogged our way through the book of Revelation, it's kind of on brand for this.
It's a little bit on brand. It's true. Oh, boy. I don't know who that guy was talking to, but somebody has an imagination.
Wait, so what happened to the toad?
Not much of one.
What happened to what?
The toad.
Oh, he just eats with the rest of them, I guess. I'm not sure.
Okay. I like that they have a meal. It's like he's reading their daily schedule, and then a luncheon is served.
Right.
A post-toad luncheon is served, and
from 12:15 to 1 p.m.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. Then we break off into work groups.
That's right.
You go with the pale guy, and you kiss the cat's ass.
We are not done yet, though. There is more, and I'm going to read the rest of it here. The candles in the room would be extinguished, and the sect would engage in wild orgies, of course, which were sometimes homosexual in nature. Ew.
Keep talking. I'm listening.
Exactly. Once the candles are relit, a man from a dark corner of the room... Look, I don't know why that tickles me, but I just like that there was a dude just chilling in the dark during the orgies. And now
also, I don't imagine it like a terribly well-lit space to begin with, but whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, he comes forth, quote, comes forth from the loin upwards, shining like the sun. His lower part is shaggy like a cat. After a brief litany-like dialogue between the cat and the cult members, the meeting ends.
And adjourn.
That's it?
There's the gavel.
Doesn't someone have to like put forth a motion to get seconded, and then there's a vote?
Who kept the minutes? Maybe that's what the toad does.
All those in favor say meow. All those opposed
say ribbit.
Say ribbit. Okay, so the
Stupid.
Pope. What? How dare you, sir? This was taken very, very seriously.
That's true, and that's what's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the world took it seriously, and they were shook. The half-son, half-cat men were teaching feline ass worship. Things were not okay. But how to solve it? What could be done to curb this evil? Well, since this was certainly all just made-up bullshit, it would be pretty difficult to find any actual members of this cult to, burn them alive or drown them or whatever. So they did the next best thing. They started killing cats. As Uncle Mark described in his hilarious Animal Court segment in episode 46, The Lesser of Two Weevils.
Thank
and
you.
It was, believe me, it's delightful, you guys. If you haven't heard it, go back.
It's pretty fun.
This launched a continent-wide campaign to torture and murder all of the little kitties. Ugh. I mean, they had surely already suspected that cats were evil, but now that they had confirmation from the Holy Father himself, it was open season on the kitties. And all this hatred and murder of cats lasted for fucking centuries.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of this, but cats do more than just sit around all day ignoring the humans who desperately want their affection. No, contrary to everything I learned watching Tom and Jerry cartoons, it turns out that cats are also pretty fucking useful at keeping the vermin population under control. So, if you kill all the cats, you better hope you like rats and mice, which you obviously don't because they're nasty. But what they didn't figure out back in the Middle Ages is that those scurrying little bastards were also vectors for disease. So.
No, vectors for disease were strange women and Jews, Dan. That was the science of the time.
And cat butts.
I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there.
Oh, shit.
So, yes, what I'm getting at is that an insane papal bull in the mid-1200s that no thinking person should have taken remotely seriously likely led fairly directly to the Black Death of the mid-1300s, because the disease was likely carried by and transmitted by rats and rat fleas. The speed and depth of the plague's transmission was probably directly influenced by the lack of cats. So,
wow.
The church caused the plague.
What's amazing, Dan, is I just don't see that there's any way to use that as a parallel for anything in our current thinking.
It's going to take me a minute, but I will. But if you trust me, I will try and draw a parallel. It will be strained.
Take me there.
It will be strained, but we're going to attempt it anyway.
Take me there.
Yeah. So the church caused the plague, but as we in this era are learning, how we respond to a plague is just as important as what caused it. So, how did the church, which was by far the most powerful instrument on the European continent, respond to the plague? Well, to be fair, nobody knew shit about shit when it came to infectious disease in the 14th century. So, they were pretty sure it was caused by breathing in miasma or bad air, which would cause an imbalance of humors. So the cures the doctors were offering were things like holding nice-smelling things next to your nose to counteract the nastiness. Seems obvious, really, when you think about it. Or something like bloodletting, because what you don't want when you're battling a disease is lots of blood in your veins.
Right.
So, no, it wouldn't be right to expect the church at the time to be wise about slowing the transmission of the disease. That said, anyone who follows history or listens to this show knows that when it comes to a church's response to things, it's never a bad bet that they'll just make everything worse, and usually the worstest that they can possibly make it.
Right.
The obvious first step that the church took was to declare that the plague was a condemnation from God for everybody's terrible, terrible sinning. And you may find yourself asking, now wait a minute, couldn't that be a good thing? Wouldn't that lead people to stop sinning? Isn't that possibly great? In a word, no, idiot. It's terrible. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but most humans are kind of the worst. The last thing anybody wants to do is self-confront. So what do humans do when the Pope says this plague is because of your sin? Well, they sure as fuck don't go, shit, I gotta stop sinning. No, they look around at all their neighbors and say, see, you bastards are sinning and now my wife has the plague.
Right.
And when Christians are thrashing about looking for sinners to pin a plague on, what's the first stop on the blame train? Anybody?
Jews.
I have a feeling.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, 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 baby. That is right. What's funny is when I was writing this, I had zero question in my mind that when I asked that, you guys would know what I was getting at.
We need a bell for every time it's the Jews. The problem is the bell would wear out.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And
Is there like an air shofar that we could use?
Oh, I hate you guys.
I still haven't listened to the 12 hours of shofar music you sent me, Doug, but it's on. I've got some time. I can do it now.
Okay, that's right. If God is sending a plague, ain't but one group of sinners that could possibly be at fault, and it's those evil Hebrews. Now, Jew hating was not new. It had been and would continue to be one of the favorite Christian pastimes of Europe, but this kicked that shit into high gear. One big moment was when whatever the 1340s version of Breitbart started spreading the story that the plague was started by Jews poisoning people's wells in Switzerland. This was all part of the plans laid out in the protocols of the really, really elders of Zion for the Jews to kill all the Christians and dominate the world. I made that document up, of course. The well poisoning was declared true by Swiss authorities because, as they said, they had tortured a bunch of Jews who then admitted to the plot. Because, as we all know from prisoners at Gitmo, when people are being tortured, they only tell the truth. This led to mass violence against Jews all over Europe. Insane pogroms were launched that included burning their houses, killing them with axes and clubs, sending them down rivers in wine barrels for some reason. And in what is probably the worst incident of them all, in Strasbourg, they rounded up 900 people, locked them up together, and burned them alive.
Oh, my
Jesus
God. 900
Christ.
people at the same time?
Yup.
Wow.
So, yeah. Now,
That's
to his
some
credit,
Swiss organization right there, man.
right?
Wow.
Now, to his credit, the Pope at the time, Pope Clement VI, was actually opposed to this treatment of Jews, which that's novel. Good job. You guys ready for right? No, But you guys ready for another papal bull?
Sure.
In September of 1348, the Pope released Quamvis Perfidium, which basically said, "Hey guys, am I the only one who's noticed that Jews are also dying of the plague?" It was basically his way of telling everybody to knock it off and leave the Jews alone. Unfortunately, the Jews were, in fact, sinners. You see, Christians were forbidden to lend money for advantage. Charging interest, or usury, is a biblically banned sin. Modern Christians have figured out how to ignore this fact, but back in the Middle Ages it was still important. However, Christians still wanted to do business, and loans were a super useful way to get business done. So the Christians set up a system. The Christians set up this system where the Jews were the lenders of European society. Now, this meant that Jewish people could become quite rich, which pissed off a lot of poor Christians, and it meant that a lot of rich Christians owed Jews money. So even though it was the Jewish community that was keeping the economies of Europe lubed up and operating, they were also wildly resented. So when an opportunity arose for Christians to feel righteous while they killed the guy that they owed a lot of money to,
Right.
yeah, they jumped on that.
Yeah, hashtag cancel Christian debt, right?
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Meanwhile, the church, which normally was the organization everybody turned to for comfort and aid, had nothing to offer against this plague. While people died by the millions and fear gripped the land, the church doled out little more than platitudes and blame.
That's weird
The priests,
of them.
yeah, it's so
Yes.
strange. You would have thought they had so much more to offer.
What a different tack for them to take.
right?
Yeah.
The priests were actually dying in higher numbers than the laity, likely because of increased contact with infected people. They,
Or all the sex.
Right. Well, there's that too. So they started shirking their duties. They stopped performing last rites. They shut people out of the churches. They were, in fact, useless, and the people started to notice. Confidence in the church was it understandably dwindled. I can't draw any direct lines on this, but it seems very possible that the church's ineptitude in the mid-1300s changed the game enough that 150-ish years later, when an upstart priest nailed a bunch of complaints to a church door, he wasn't put to death as a heretic, but rather led the most important schism in Christian history.
Interesting.
Love me a schism.
Who doesn't love a good schism?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that about the priest class being seen as fucking useless during the play. I mean, obviously they were anyway, but
Well, I mean,
but they
and
weren't
not
even
to-
doing the things that they normally do to pretend it's all magic.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
and even when
and-
they did, they weren't protecting anybody. No, people were still getting it.
Right.
I mean, imagine the vectors in a medieval church, right? The holy water, the wine, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just how much damage that could be in a church. So
Yeah.
and closing down the churches sounds a little familiar.
Yeah, you think? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, the fact is that after a few years of pogroms and plague, the population of Europe had been decimated. Actually, much worse than decimated for those etymological pedants out there. Somewhere between 30 and 40% of Europe died,
Jesus Christ.
depending on whose estimate you go with. Also, a bunch of Asia and the Middle East, but I don't have time to do the Muslim response to the plague, though it was fascinating. So here we are now in the midst of another worldwide plague, but now we know a lot more about the causes and spread of disease, which is great because it means that we have so many tools that the people of the Middle Ages didn't have. But to whom do we look for help? Well, as of on the very day we are recording this, Pope Francis just called for world prayer to combat the disease. Great. Thanks.
What about kissing a cat on the ass? That's
Just call Lucian. Let's get him on the horn.
Mark, don't be stupid. That's an old bull. That's an old papal bull. The new ones. Oh, did you also see that he said, if you're confessing, just do it directly to God? It's like, dude, you just cut out the entire fucking middleman, which is you.
Yeah, exactly.
You just
exactly.
Yeah, it is interesting that times of crisis like this are when the churches prove to themselves how worthless they are.
Yeah.
So now the churches are closed, and the only folks who are helping in any real way are the scientists, and that, my dear uncles, is how it should be.
Yay! That is exactly how it should be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like it's it kind of inverts the old there are no atheists in foxholes, which is a bullshit thing.
Right.
And there are no religious there are plenty of religious extremists in time of crisis, but sane religious people, suddenly it's like, hey, let's see what Dr. Fauci has to say.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no religious people in hospitals right now. You know what I mean?
Crises.
And the people we're turning to save us are the non-religious, scientifically minded members of our society who we should have been listening to the whole time. And maybe we will. Maybe we'll start listening more.
But my freedom.
So there you are. There you have it. Small bits of progress have been made. If at least societally, if not in how our brains think about things.
Well, thank you for
I
taking
think-
us to a sunnier time, Dan.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think, like you said, Uncle Dan, that we have many tools that the people in the Middle Ages did not have, but we have a ginormous orange tool that they didn't have to contend with.
Oh, nice one.
That was a long walk.
All right. Well, that's wonderful. I think let's all wash our hands and move on.
Hey, Uncle Mark.
Hey there, Uncle Dan.
I got a series of jokes for you. You ready?
I'm so ready.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Ether.
Ether who?
Ether Bunny.
Oh,
Knock, knock, knock.
who's there?
Samoa.
Samoa who?
Samoa Ether Bunnies. Knock, knock.
I can't with this. Don't go.
Knock. Fucking knock.
Who's there?
Cargo.
Go whom?
Cargo beep beep. Run all over the Ether Bunnies.
Uncle Dan, do you smell toast?
That was a trip back to elementary school for Uncle Dan. I had to go to a better time. This has been the social isolation has been hard.
Yeah.
And I needed to venture back into a time when things were easier and lighter. I think.
Yeah, that's our aristocrats, basically, right there. It's the How to Heretic version of the aristocrat. It's a go-to. It's a classic.
Yeah, Uncle Doug, save us. Dude, tell us something that's actually funny.
Well, dear uncles, in this time of doom and gloom, I thought I would try and take our minds off our impending on-ramp to Fury Road and talk about one of the more harmless, if perhaps most ridiculous seasonal mascots, as Uncle Dan just mentioned, the Easter Bunny. Of all the tropes and traditions of modern Christianity, this is perhaps the inanest and most poorly thought out. And
Well, hold on.
I mean,
Hold on.
as you'll see,
You are calling quite a shot, mister.
Thin ice, buddy.
Well, as we'll see, there's no real connective tissue between any of the elements of the Easter Bunny, and there's no connective tissue between the Easter Bunny and Christianity, but we'll get there. But as far as I could tell, no one has ever died because of the Easter Bunny. I'm sure somebody somewhere has, but I couldn't find him. So, however,
Let us know, listeners, if you have any Easter Bunny related fatality stories. We're desperate for that information.
It would be a mistake to completely write off rabbits as harmless, after all, as Tim the Enchanter said about the rabbit outside the cave of Clairbannig.
That's no ordinary rabbit. That's the most foul, cruel, and bad-tempered rodent you even set eyes on. Look at the rabbit's got a vicious streak a mile wide. He's a killer. He's got huge, sharp. He can leap up out. Look at the bones.
And scene.
Hey, yeah,
And
Uncle Mark. I do a terrible British accent, so thanks.
Well, that
Uncle
one's
Mark,
Scottish, so
Oh,
True.
Tim is Scottish, Doug.
That's true, and I
Yeah.
should
It's
be
even
able to do a
worse.
Scottish accent, but I
yeah,
can't.
exactly. Even worse.
This whole thing leads, of course, to the use of one of our favorite religious technologies, the Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch, and its attending instructions from the Book of Armaments. But we'll leave that for another time.
5, 3, sir, 3.
So, it goes without saying that the Easter Bunny is not biblical, but I said it anyway.
Does
Rabbits-
it though? I feel like we've read enough shit in the Bible that it wouldn't surprise me if someone were trying to support the Easter Bunny.
If there is not a rabbit in Leviticus, I quit.
Well, Uncle Mark, I got your back.
Okay, good.
Rabbits appear in only 2 places in the Bible, Leviticus and Deuteronomy.
Oh, perfect. The classics. Beautiful.
And in both cases, they are prohibited from being eaten because they chew their cud.
which they don't.
Right. So Leviticus 11:6 reads, quote, "And the hare, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you." And then in Deuteronomy 14:7 it says, "Nevertheless ye shall not eat of them that chew the cud, or them that divide the cloven hoof, as the camel and the hare and the coney. For they chew the cud, but divide not the hoof, therefore they are unclean unto you." Now, rabbits, it turns out, are not ruminants. That is, they do not have multiple stomachs, and they do not chew their cud.
How
Truly.
dare you?
As best as anyone can tell, the enlightened writers of the Bible believe them to be ruminants because they are constantly moving their mouths like they are chewing something. So
Yeah, they got that adorable little chewy thing going on.
Yeah, it's cute.
way to go, Christians. You chose for your Easter mascot an animal that proves the Bible is full of errors. Way to go. So as best
But
as
what
anyone
about conies? Are you sure? What
Yeah,
about them?
I didn't spend a lot of time. That's a subject for another day.
You know what would have
Conies in
been
their
great
island.
is if the thing that brought the chocolate Easter eggs on Easter morning was a 4-legged giant insect.
Or a camel?
Or a bat bird. So, as best as anyone can tell, the original legend of the Easter rabbit or Easter hare originated amongst German Lutherans in the 1600s. What? Yeah, the original legend had. I mean, these were far more kind of paganistic areas.
Right.
The original Easter bunny was very much like Santa Claus. He delivered presents to good children the night before Easter. The reason that of all animals a rabbit came to symbolize Easter is probably because it was widely believed in the ancient world that rabbits were hermaphrodites, which they are not, and that they could therefore reproduce without having sex with another rabbit, which they cannot.
Right.
This belief was so widespread in the ancient world that it was even believed by the likes of Pliny and Plutarch. So it could be that the idea of virgin
They never
birth.
saw two rabbits fucking? Like,
I know the metaphor for out of control breeding is rabbits.
Well,
yeah, I know.
But the thing is that two rabbits fight. I don't know if you guys have actually seen it. It takes 0.2 seconds. So, like, it could just look like they just jumped on each other and jumped off.
That's why they called me the rabbit in high school.
what have you been Googling, Dan, these days? Quarantine.
Coney sex. It's hot.
Coney
It's kinda
20.
sexy.
20.
That's right. Oh, God.
So it could be the idea of virgin birth is the connection between rabbits and Jesus. No one's sure about that, but that seems to be somewhat prevailing thinking.
It's not to do with the fact that, like, in springtime is when you see a bunch of bunnies start coming out.
Everything that has to do with the resurrection has to do with springtime. So the color green and yeah, absolutely. Eggs, which we'll talk about. As for eggs have been a symbol of fertility going back to before the time of Christ for obvious reasons. However, eggs did become a symbol for rebirth and therefore the resurrection of Jesus as early as the 1st century.
Yeah.
How?
Because after 3 days, he came out of his egg, Dan.
I just don't like it. Okay, draw that line for me. I got nothing.
I mean, it's just, you have an inanimate object and a chicken bursts out of it. I mean,
And Mary was oviviparous. I don't think there's any dispute about that. It says so in Matthew.
Yeah. So eggs were prohibited during Lent, so early Christian children would go door to door begging for eggs on the Saturday before Lent began because everything in history sucked. The tradition of coloring or decorating eggs is harder to pin down, but it was the German Protestants who began what we would consider the modern custom of decorating eggs. To this day, many Eastern Orthodox Christians dye their eggs red, representing the blood of Jesus that he spilled on the cross. I know, right? Or
Everybody
green.
loves a good bloody egg.
I know.
Red egg.
I know, presumably to freak out their children. Interestingly, the Ukrainian art of decorating eggs called pizanki dates back to pre-Christian times. So
I don't know why that's hilarious. Sankey?
that's what it's called.
They're gorgeous, though.
They're
I don't know if
gorgeous.
you've ever
They're
seen
really,
it.
really pretty, but
I actually took a Ukrainian egg decorating class when I was in middle school.
So did
But I didn't know
I
it was
loved it.
Jesus,
I didn't know I was pizankying.
Yeah, you're the Pizankiest.
I'm the pizanky.
So somewhere along the way, this super judgy, non-ruminant, non-hermaphrodite rodent added decorated eggs to the list of gifts to give out to children in little nests, which, again, rabbits do not build in the wild. This tradition worked its way to our shores in the 18th century with German immigrants in the Pennsylvania Dutch area, and then eventually became widespread. Eventually, William Townley figured out how to make concentrated dye tablets, and the Paws Company was born in 1893 in New Jersey. Several other egg decorating 1893. So several other egg decorating companies have come and gone, but none have ever surpassed Paws. For as Patton Oswalt said when talking about Easter, you went to Paws or you went to hell. So.
Paws is so tied up in every childhood memory of Easter.
Okay, and we'll talk about so Easter egg hunts and even Easter egg rolls are traditions that go back to Germany and other parts of Europe as well. And if you can explain the logic of either of those things, I'm all ears. And as if this holiday were not random and bizarre enough, in 1953, Sam Bourne in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, figured out how to squirt colored marshmallow goo into a vaguely avian form, and Just Born Candy Company was born. These weird confections called, of course, Peeps, went into mass production and for some completely unknown reason became the unofficial candy of Easter.
It is a known fact that those are actually just enchanted baby quail. Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that. I think that's how drag queens are. That's like pupil drag queen is a little peep, and then it turns into a fabulous queen later in life.
So, in the intervening years, Just Born has introduced many colors of Peeps and even other shapes, including bunnies, and have tried to make their candy sell year-round, but it's this time of year when they make the lion's share of their money. Yeah. So there's not too much more to it than that. That's the story of how a rodent that is only mentioned in the Bible incorrectly, that does not chew its cud, is not a hermaphrodite, does not reproduce asexually, does not build nests, does not have a mechanism by which to judge children, and does not lay fucking eggs, came to symbolize a 2,000-year-old resurrection of a Jewish carpenter that did not happen. All it makes is sense. So it's so gaggly bizarre, this fucking holiday.
How we end up with the things we do is just it will never cease to fascinate me. It's so crazy. And you missed my favorite name for Christmas, for Easter, which is John Oliver calls it Shitty Christmas.
Well, and here's what I find most interesting about the Easter Bunny is even though very small children certainly believe in him because their parents tell them to, no one really takes the Easter Bunny at all seriously. Like it is such a completely pro forma activity to I got to do the Easter Bunny thing. It's just such a strange thing to have planted itself that nobody takes seriously. Nobody
really knows the origins of it until you drill into it.
Well, and what's funny is if you shit on anything about Christmas, if you shit on a tree or if you say something about Santa, the MAGA hat wearing crowd will destroy you.
Right.
But you could probably get away with joking about the Easter Bunny because they don't actually care about that one.
And what's funny is that, if Christianity is to be, believed, which of course is the editorial position of this podcast that it is not,
right?
The resurrection is the main event. That's the big thing, right?
That's so true. It's so weird. Yeah.
His being born was just like everybody, everyone else was also born.
Yeah.
Right. But this is the one thing that Jesus himself
a virgin
did.
egg-laying woman.
Yeah, but it's this super consumery plastic crap all around that holiday.
Do you guys remember where we were last year at Easter?
Yeah.
We were at the American Atheists in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah.
And there was this moment that Easter this will stick in my head about Easter. We were, I think it was the morning we were leaving or something. We went to Starbucks to get coffee. Yeah. And we had our credentials on American Atheists. Remember that? And
I do remember.
Man and woman were in there, and they were just staring fucking daggers at us. And I loved how, as they left, they said "Happy Easter" at us in the most passive-aggressive fucking way.
Yeah.
Happy Easter, y'all. And it was so beautiful. We're like, hey, you too. Have a great time. Okay. Whatever that means. I don't know. What do you do? Roll an egg around.
Go find yourself a rabbit.
Happy Easter. Well, with that, Doug, let's all have a happy Easter.
Yeah, let's move on.
Oh, fellas.
Hello.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. It is now the philosophy of this podcast that a lot of our people probably can't afford right now to give us their money, and that's totally fine.
So those people, we have a kill switch right here. Those people are click. No.
Dead? You're killing them?
No, not me.
Okay.
But no, this podcast is free for a reason, and those that can support us, of course, we love and appreciate you. Like you can't believe. But for those that can't, please don't feel guilty. Until after the epidemic.
Right. If you need to suspend your thing or whatever, please go ahead. However, some others are still managing to earn their income or get their income, and so they have decided to cover them as can't, and have and we owe some thanks to some folks.
So let's thank them.
Let us do so. Thanks so much to Craig and to Tracy and to Brian. And then we owe some heavens, or not some heavens, some saints. So, Uncle Mark, I am going to give you give a saint to Alan.
Aye, aye, Captain. Here comes a saint for Alan. Wherever you are, Alan, we hope you are safe and well, and your hands are cracked and as chapped as mine are. So, obviously, in this time of need, you need Saint Tricky Bar of Samarkand, who is well known to be the patron saint of needlepoint pornography, aluminum extrusion technicians and machine operators, and cartwheels that end in life-altering injuries.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the hits.
That is the hits. That's great. And Uncle Doug, I'm going to have you do a saint for a secure government job means I can kick extra money to my podcast peeps.
Oh.
Well, secure government job means I get to kick extra money to my podcast peeps. Your saint is Saint Barbarous the Pure of Quetzal Sacatenango.
Where is that? Oh, that's in Mexico.
It's a Simpsons reference. Saint Barbarous is the patron saint of heartburn, heartache, and why not the band Heart?
Yeah, nice.
I like it. There's a theme.
I thought
Very
Heart was
good.
their own saint, but I'm even happier to hear that they have one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I have to improvise a saint now for the Wily Wiles. And the Wily Wiles, your saint is Saint Mysticus of the Canary Islands. The Lesser Canaries, not the Greater Canaries.
Not the ones you can see on the map.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. The ones that are currently underwater. And Saint Mysticus is the patron saint of strange tasting wine, of large but not but adorable rodents, and of things made of foam.
Yeah.
So,
that's nice.
Pretty much any foamy sort of thing you're going to be.
I mean, that saint is just
totally...
an A to B to C, if you ask me. It's just
right.
like the through line of logic. I can see why the Pope chose those things.
100%. It's
Pope Radish the 27th.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go, y'all. Thanks so much for your support. If you are like some of our listeners and have a secure government job that means you can kick extra money to your podcast peeps, please feel free to do so. You can go to howtoheretic.com and click on the support thing, and it'll take you to Patreon, and then you sign up at whatever level you feel comfortable. You know, if you make a lot of money and you want to make up for a bunch of the people that we're losing out on, just keep hitting zeros. You're fine.
Yeah.
But the rest of you, please don't feel any pressure. We love you all. Be safe out there. Let's do some more show.
Uncle Dan.
Hey.
These are fearful times.
What? How do you figure?
Well,
explain that.
Like we mentioned earlier, we are living through not only a plague, but basically we're working our way through the book of Revelation one page at a time. It seems.
Well, in order for that to be the case, there would have to be earthquakes and like locusts, and I just don't see it.
Look, when the canned soup runs out, we're all going to be eating a little book. So,
yeah.
So, guys, as you guys have mentioned, we've had quite a week here under the shadow of Moroni's trumpet, or what used to be the shady place beneath it until an earthquake knocked it out of his golden delightsome hand. And you remember on the show, I've used that term to describe life in Mormon country as living under the shadow of Moroni's trumpet. Yeah. And because God is hilarious, she saw my joke and raised me a magnitude 5.7 motherfucking earthquake on Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
So the strange, worrisome peace of our three respective social distancings was violently disrupted by our houses moving around underneath us. Not the way my sweetie and I would like to wake up in the morning.
It's nice of you to call me your sweetie, though.
Well, people should just know, Dan. I think it's time. So the shaking stopped. We threw some clothes on and went outside to check on the neighbors. It was still just kind of pre-dawn, so it was already eerie. And, I don't know about you guys. I felt like I was hallucinating the whole thing.
Oh, my God.
And everyone was fine, but it was super weird not to be able to embrace our friends and neighbors because of the fucking social distancing we're all supposed to be doing right now.
That was weird. That was rough, man. It's one of those moments where you're like, okay, everybody gather up. We need to be together. Oh, wait.
Yeah, exactly. Let's all hug it out. And so, we all stood 10 feet apart and shared our wild-eyed stories. And that at least helped. We felt like our community still existed, even at arm's length. So we came inside and we tried not to panic through some spooky aftershocks. And you guys know those were pretty fucking spooky as well.
Yeah.
And then doubly stressed, we tried to take a nap. And my poor husband had all these nightmares. And then he got up and cried in the shower. And then we cried together in the kitchen. And I don't know if they were tears of terror or stress or both, but they were super real. And oddly enough, they led to some stress laughing. So being human is still a thing.
Yeah.
And like everyone else who isn't a moron in a crowd at spring break, right now we're living with this global pandemic. Both my husband and I, and like everyone else, we have very uncertain employment futures. We have a little bit of food, but who knows if it's enough. And of course, in the U.S., we're all living in terror of the utter vacuum of federal leadership, as Dan already mentioned, which can best be described thusly. When you guys were in 6th grade, did you ever get accidentally or out of pity invited to the cool kids pool party where you ate too much? And this is the hypothetical, right? Where you ate too many hot dogs and drank too much orange soda pop and ran around like a crazy person for hours, then decided to show off the new trampoline backflip you'd learned. And with the whole 6th grade class watching, just as your toes left the mat and you arch your back, that's when the day catches up with you. And your stomach deploys a high-velocity spray of chunky orange soda hot dog slurry with accents of relish and mustard. No? And it continues in an almost impossibly beautiful arc, iridescently lit in the warm afternoon sun, only to have that arc of Technicolor childhood splatter on all the cool kids as they watched in both horror and wonder. And then to have the backflip itself fail into a sort of lunch-basted belly flop accompanied by the screams of all the kids that would never speak to you again as the repurposed meal still bounced around you in your utter humiliation. You never had that?
No.
No, of course we did.
It doesn't ring a bell.
Me neither. So that to me is the closest visual I could come up with for the Trump administration's response to this very real thing. And we all know I'm right.
Yeah.
And what we had in addition to all the stresses I mentioned about about above was a pretty sizable fucking earthquake on top of all the rest. And the crying that at least my husband and I did was in response to a world feeling very out of control at the moment. I think for all of us, our fragile sense of normalcy was shook by the earthquake and everything leading up to it. So I thought we had to talk to our secluded heretic family out there about how the fuck to contend with the existential fear and the crisis of uncertainty that seems to be coming from all directions at the moment.
Can I just jump in real quick and say that one of the things that's really helping me right now in this exact moment is that you've got me thinking about what would happen if you were in an earthquake but you were on a trampoline. So I'm just exploring that.
Well,
you guys talk amongst yourselves.
If you were both in the air during the earthquake, you could survive not only the earthquake but a lightning strike.
Boom.
So So everybody get out on those trampolines. Rule number 1.
Get yourself to a trampoline.
Yeah, great. First, get a tummy full of hot dog and orange pop.
Done.
So Doug's already on it. So, like I say, I've come up with a list, and remember, we're just your very loving but not overly qualified audio uncles, so take it with a pillar of salt. So, number 1 on the list, do not have an earthquake. Don't fuck around with that shit, you guys. They're super dumb.
Yeah, Zagreb already made that mistake. They had one this morning, so that's fine.
Just cross that off the top. So number 2, in all seriousness, I think understand your fear. Fear is an evolutionary imperative we all possess, and we talked about it a bit last week. It works to keep us alive, but it can also make us crazy or even kill us. I think we're conditioned to try and avoid it as much as we can, and we're really bad at dealing with it.
Yeah.
My suggestion in this strange time, and you guys may disagree, and please do say so if you do, is just for a bit, stare that fucker in the face. Look at what's happening and your place in it. Sit with it for a while and think it through. Fear leads to panic, and panic is a terrible place in which to make decisions. How much of your fear is something you can actually do anything about, and how much is about things you have no control over? If you can tease those apart and put them in separate buckets, that's been helpful to me.
I do agree with you with that a lot. In that I think that facing your fear is the only real way to deal with it. However, I would say that only with the caveat that sometimes fear is very, very, very strong, and you're just not going to be able to do it. You'll just traumatize yourself further if you dive into some fear. So you got to have enough distance. You got to be. It can't. If it's too present, you got to get your brain out of that space. But if you can, looking directly at a fear almost certainly diminishes it, because all our brains do is magnify. Yeah. So if you can look at the actual fear and just really carve down to what you're actually afraid of, what the real situation is, what your position in that real situation is, it's almost guaranteed to be smaller and more manageable than you thought it was.
Well, exactly right. I think you can't deconstruct the fear until you can look at it, and it's just overwhelming at the moment.
Well, and I was telling you guys about this earlier, and excuse me, this might come into play a little later on in the discussion, but I was sitting watching TV, just flipping channels, trying to keep my mind off my fear, and I came upon Hedwig and the Angry Inch, which, if any listeners have not seen that movie,
it's a great film.
Stop, pause the podcast.
So good.
Go watch the movie right now. But there's a sing-along scene in it that's pretty bittersweet, and I just kind of let myself go. And I mean, I'm not ashamed of the fact that I was crying so hard I was pointless to try and wipe away the tears. But it was therapeutic in the sense that I just kind of I stopped trying to hold it back. I stopped trying to keep it pushed down. I just let it kind of have its moment. And thank God it was during that movie. And I felt much, much better. I'm still fucking freaked out, but I kind of let it uncork for a minute.
Yeah. It's okay. Just go through it.
Yeah. And the truth is that with a lot of these feelings, the only way out is through.
Yeah.
And so
it's the running from fear that can make it seem much worse than it is.
And it always, it looms larger and larger the faster and harder you run. So literally stopping and just sitting with it for a while and letting the feelings wash over you and letting them, if you need to cry during a musical, go ahead. I've found myself watching a lot of comforting 80s films, some better than others, by the way. Goonies does not hold up. I am shocked by how bad that film is.
It's kind of chaotic, isn't it?
It's a mess. It's a goddamn mess. However,
I still love it.
I will say that Little Shop of Horrors is amazing and one of the best.
So we'll get to distraction.
Yeah. However, what I was going to say is let the feelings flow. That's what I was trying to get at.
Just I cry all the time. Just do it. So, number 2, after you've sat with the devil for a minute. Sorry, part of us being in our home studios is I have a deaf cat who likes to yowl. So I can't do anything about her, so we're just going to live with it. And that's part of this process.
That's right.
So number 2, after staring at your fears and not having an earthquake, or number 3, I guess, is take an inventory of what you've survived in this life. I made one for myself, and it actually put some wind back in my sails. And here's just a partial list. Being a queer kid raised in a toxically homophobic cult, surviving a psychopathic older brother and extremely violent parents, suicide, getting stalked by a cougar, the big cat, not your Aunt Nancy that did really well in the divorce. That's a true story. I survived the LA riots, had a close call. I survived a very direct hit by a tornado, which led me to meeting Karl Malone. True story. We'll talk about it for patrons another time.
It is a great story, though.
It is a great story.
I survived an insane car crash, getting tear gassed in another riot, like Dan and Doug. I survived the Cola Wars. And I survived a motherfucking 5.7 magnitude earthquake just this week. So, okay, I've seen some shit. And I bet you two guys could rival that list if you thought about it. And I think we're all stronger than we think. We maybe just need to remind ourselves and each other about that. So seriously, write your inventory on a piece of whatever paper you have left and tape it to the mirror. Don't
Not
succumb
toilet paper.
Yep, don't waste
do it.
toilet paper.
Fuck no.
Worth more than gold.
Don't succumb to paralyzing fear because you forgot what a fucking warrior you are. And
There
we
you
all,
go.
there's plenty of people that have survived cancer and childbirth, and not that those are the same, but you have to go to the hospital for both. Or, or they're refugees or they survived war. We're going to get through this. So,
Well, and the thing is that right now it feels like we're experiencing, like, if you let if you don't confront the ideas, if you don't confront the thoughts, if you just push them away, then it's very easy for your brain to settle into this idea somehow that there's this plague that's going to kill everybody and we're all going to die and blah, blah, blah. And that's not how this works. We are just separate. What we're doing is we're socially isolating ourselves so that we save some very vulnerable people in our society. But most of us, it's fine. Even if you caught the thing, you're probably going to be okay. We have, it's just we're trying to keep the hospital beds open for the people who really, really need them. So
right.
It's not as scary as it feels. It's boring and kind of crazy driving, but it's not. It's a lot of this. It feels scarier than it is, and that's something to keep in mind.
But there's a significant number of vulnerable people. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Right. That have a condition that this could be fatal. So I think it is scary. But
that's true.
Yeah.
I don't mean to discount that. There's for the people who are the most vulnerable, you should be afraid. But don't live in the fear of the thing. Live in what that, like, let that fear be the thing that guides you to being prudent.
Yeah.
But prudence is what's important, not fear.
Right. Fear, you don't make smart decisions in fear. So that's, you got to work your way out of that. So number 3, and I think this is a good one, phone a friend. I know it's all fun and games to shit on boomers, and we have our fun too, but if you're a young person under 30 or so, you may not have lived through a ton of major news stories like this. If you have an older person you like in your life, talk to them about this. Like if you have a grandparent, right, or a great-grandparent that's still alive, talk to them about this and see if you can gain some perspective from their wealth of free experience. They would be thrilled to be asked, and their knowledge might help put this into some historical context. And if you're an older person, be the elder your people need and check in on the younger people in your life. Like many kids, it may be they're not afraid enough. And as we're all learning, isolation can be, isolating. Reach out to people. Imagine what it must have been like during the Spanish flu of 1919. All the same fear, all the same anxiety, but almost no interconnection. Maybe a phone if you were one of the fancy people, right? Let's use this incredible gift of online interconnectedness to soften the edges of the plague of loneliness this shitty pandemic is heralding. Also, if you and other people around you were raised in end-time cults or denominations, they are either super used to living with reading every tea leaf as a sign of the apocalypse, or they're doubly traumatized by what feels like a community theater production of the Book of Revelation right now. So don't forget to check out on them either.
Yeah.
Number 4, okay, make a plan. You faced your fear. You've taken a survivor's inventory. You've talked to your grandpa. Now you got to make a plan. How are you and your family going to get through this while completely minimizing contact with others? What resources are available to you where you are? How can you weather this? It's an extraordinary time. Think in extraordinary ways. Set up protocols for how and when you leave the house, and as far as hand washing and what you can get delivered. There's information on that stuff. You can go to the CDC website. That's one part of the government we can still trust. You can go to the CDC website, and there's all kinds of information on avoidance and hygiene and stuff like that. And who can you call that might be less vulnerable than you for assistance if you're in a high-risk group? This goes back to phoning a friend above. Also, you can plan on different things as well. Now that your daily routine is very much changed, Do you have more time? Pardon me. If so, you can do all the things people suggest, like reading that book you've been meaning to get to, practicing guitar, et cetera, et cetera. But maybe you've got time to call your elected reps 2 to 3 times a day, every day, to blowtorch their asses about this viral clusterfuck that is day by day taking on a very man-made dimension. That's a great new hobby for this weird time and satisfying. But make a plan, make it a to-do list, and work towards making it a reality. Number 5, I would say, is take a break. As we all know, life is very disrupted right now. A lot of you have children or parents at home, cooped up and already going a little, well, cuckoo. We're having a global snow day. A fucking weird one, but school's canceled, and so is the economy. So you know what? Take a break. If, like me, you're glued to the news and it feels like a lot too much, take a break. I'm trying to make a serious rule. Take a break. I'm trying to make a serious rule. No more social media before bed. If you can sleep more, fuck it. You can only stand so much isolation from right now. Take advantage of this snow day. Sleep late, take naps, go to bed at 6 p.m. If you have access to streaming services, there is so much good shit to catch up on and binge and see for the first time. Watch a fucking movie in the morning. Well, even in big cities. Sorry?
I was going to say, Uncle Mark, here, I was just thinking that the other day, a lot of what these last few ideas is about the mental health of everybody, right? Like,
yeah,
we're in such a terrorizing and psychically intense moment that if you've been smart, you've planned, you've got the groceries you need for your physical well-being, you really, really do need to tend to your mental well-being. And if that's watching a movie, unplugging, going to bed early, I mean, because this could be a long time. We could be in this moment for quite a while. And
you guys have no idea how good I'm getting at Candy Crush. I am a master.
Can I tell you, my house, and this is a true thing, I actually like house cleaning because my job is very complex mentally and creatively and socially. So to me, house cleaning is like a solvable crisis. So you don't have to overthink it. It's pretty neck down. So my house, this could be a coronavirus ICU unit. It is so clean right now. So I actually find pleasure in that. And it takes me away from just like staring into the abyss. And so I think, that works for me.
Yeah.
So even in big cities, it's still okay to go outside. This is not like M. Night Shyamalan's 2008 smash dud, The Happening, in which a very Bostonian Mark Wahlberg discovers the trees themselves are trying to kill us. No, silly. It's the earthquakes trying to do that. So go for a walk, go for a drive, still keep 6 to 10 feet of distance from anyone, especially Mark Wahlberg, and wash your damned hands. But get some air and enjoy humanity's final spring together, but far apart. If we don't try to... Yeah.
The long walks and long drives have been my salvation this last week. I've been taking the nice long walks. I cross the street to avoid other humans, but it's been the thing that has saved me is just being outside rather than cooping myself up.
We're very fortunate to be having a spate of good weather here in Zion. I hope you guys are wherever you are, but it's been hugely helpful. So, if we don't try to preserve our humanity by disengaging from time to time and laughing at the darkness, then this Democrat Chinese hoax that Hillary sent to Barack Obama's shameful tan suit via her unsecured emails wins, right? and we don't want that now, do we? And I think this is my last one. Number 6, ask for help. In many cultures, but very much so in the U.S., asking for help is considered shameful. If coronavirus kills anything, let it be this. Society is a web of interpersonal connections, and 100 million John Wayne movies don't make it not so. Fuck bootstraps, fuck American exceptionalism, fuck the slightly less stupid Trump, Ronald Reagan, and the poisonous myth of suicidal self-reliance he shit into our national water supply. If you need help, and you do, and you will, ask for it. Yeah. Ask for help. Let the people in your life surprise you with how they can rise to the occasion in this emergency. And if you can help someone, reach out to them directly and offer it. Tell them what you can do. Can you give them $50? Can you do a pharmacy run? Can you take an elderly person's garbage out, etc.? Let's commune differently in a time that demands us to be a community in new, different ways. And, not to be alarmist at all, but let's also be very real here. We're the reality-based community, so let's deal in reality. Lots of people are going to die, but the vast majority will not. That's the reality of the randomness of life on this improbable and wonderful planet we share with each other, and sometimes a surprisingly hostile array of microscopic beasties. So, we only get one life that we know of, so you better make the most of it. To steal Doug's line, fear is hard to shake, but imagine how it's going to feel on the other side of this storm when we can all walk out our front doors and into each other's arms once again, when we can watch a movie where friends meet up at a crowded bar and not think that they've all lost their minds. That day will come.
That's going to be a good day.
Yeah. Literally, as we were watching a movie last night, I'm like, what are you doing? Until then, let us repeat to ourselves the amazing Bene Gesserit litany against fear from Frank Herbert's Dune. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it is gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. So say that over and over again until you control the spice and therefore the universe. And binge some good shit on Netflix.
Yeah, totally. I just want to say to our listeners, what you haven't heard is that in the midst of all of this, we had to do a couple of edits because this is an emotional thing that we're all talking about, and we were feeling emotions during the recording of this thing. And so I just want everybody to know that, like, you know, if we can't even make it through this segment without crying, you guys are okay. You know what I mean? We're all going to be okay. Feel your feelings. Just know that we're all in this together. This is real. It doesn't, you know, it's funny because I had a moment recently this week where I was like, the only thing that's happening is I'm staying at home. Why is this so hard? But it is. It just is. Yeah. So be okay with that. Just accept it.
And be happy with the fact that you know, it's okay to have this dread. It's okay to have this fear, but you're also not burdened with the devil and with a judgmental God and the terror of maybe committing a sin or breaking one of the rules,
or that this is the literal end of the world.
Yeah,
right.
We know what's causing this. We know how it spreads. We know what we can do to help mitigate that. And we're the scientifically minded. We're the reasonable ones. And so, I mean, count your blessings isn't the right term, but bear that in mind. That hey, it's a better place to be to have a scientifically based outlook in this time of crisis than to have silly mythologies bouncing around.
Humanity has given us, people fighting much harder than we have so far, have given us an incredible array of weapons with which to fight this.
Yeah,
and we're very fortunate for that.
And I do like the notion, Doug, that you came up with, which is that we can actually celebrate our lack of religion. Get out, go into masturbate in every room in your house. Have some fun with it. You know what I mean?
I'm masturbating right now.
Figure out new porn. Who knows? Maybe you'll invent something.
Maybe you'll discover a kink you didn't know you had. I know I did, like Thursday.
I know
I did waking up to an earthquake.
Listen, your body is a playground, not a temple. Go and have some fun.
That's right. So, well, thanks for sticking with me through that, guys. That was hopefully useful. And we love you, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Love you all.
Moving on.
Well, friends, that is it for this week's show.
Hey, we'd love to hear from you. Please send us a link. A link. Sure, send us one of those.
Just send us a link to whatever you want.
Do so by email, howto@howtoheretic.com.
Pornography.
Or if you can put a surgical mask over your phone and leave us a voicemail at 903-88-HOW-TO, which is 903-884-6986. I'm also on Twitter at HowToHeretic.
And as always, thanks to our patrons.
And thank you to our dear friend Cody Layton for editing the show, even under these crazy circumstances.
And thanks to all of you, dear friends, for tuning in.
Love ya.
Bye, friends.
Let's commune differently in a time that demands us to be a community in new, different ways. And not to be alarmist at all, but let's also be very real here. We're the reality-based community, so let's deal in reality. Lots of people are going to die, but the vast majority will not. That's the reality of the randomness of life on this improbable and wonderful planet we share with each other, and sometimes a surprisingly hostile array of microscopic beasties. So while we are alive, let us live. We only get one life that we know of. Okay. I'm going to need a sec. We can still record, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Keep going.
Sorry, Cody. Where did I start to fall apart there? So, while we're alive, let us live. We only get one life that we know of, so you better make the most of it, to steal Doug's line. Fear is hard to shake, but imagine how it's going to feel on the other side of the storm. Fuck, I can get through this. What do we do here? Can we take a minute?
We can, or you can just talk to the people about how you're feeling.
I just don't want to freak anybody out.
I think it's good. I mean, I think we're modeling what you said, which is to feel your feelings.
Cuck. Oh my God. I'm practicing good hygiene and blowing my nose onto the cuff of my shirt. And that's what we should all do.